How to overcome your client's competing offer and offers and what I've been experiencing. Hi, welcome in. Michael here. I want to go through a doc that I put together and that I also posted in other groups and I've shared with other brokers, agents already on the reality that you face when you get a client. It probably took you some time. You're working off of quality and quantity. I understand all of the problems, pain, and frustrations you may be currently going through now, or have been, or will, where it just takes that one person and you took a good amount of energy and time just to get them in the door, into an application, them getting an offer, and then you find out that they have submitted applications somewhere else, whether that's an online marketplace or multiple ones or a direct lender, a combination of them. You were probably in first position to helping them out, and then they went elsewhere, or it was the other way around. And it kind of feels frustrating because they are shopping you around, and not everybody does. Even if you have a strong personal and business bond with them, it's the reality you face, and you really have to earn it as an agent, broker slash referral partner. And if you're doing this just to pass time and just put a link out there and hoping people click it and then come and then start an application, which can happen and it could be a good result, but you may get lucky. And you just have to understand the ins and outs of that and how you're pre-framing people. So I'm going to go through what I said there, and this will be very revealing and it'll show you uh, how this all goes. So again, how to overcome your clients' competing offers and what I've been experiencing. Hi everyone, and this one was posted on Friday, so I said happy Friday, dot, dot, dot. One thing that's usually is a given is your clients are going to apply everywhere and anywhere. Perhaps they already have, or maybe they won't, but business owners have become savvier. And I mean, you can't really blame them for shopping around, but it's a question if it's in the right place and places. Their credit being shopped around, open applications, and too many of them are looking for the lowest price for the maximum amount at the highest terms and lowest rates, in parentheses, plus monthly terms, but start with weekly or daily in the world of a lump sum revenue based. And if I haven't mentioned this, in a revenue based non collateralized financing, it's harder to get monthly. And an MCA monthly, it's an unsecured term loan APR monthly. Those unsecured term loan APR type of products, you want to have a 750 and above, 50,000 plus per month in monthly sales revenue deposits, 3+ years time in business, strong balances, less non-sufficient funds, negative days. It's got to be strong. And if it's like a traditional merchant cash advance or not a traditional merchant cash advance, a lot of the times you see 650 and above, 50,000 plus per month, 2+ years. And there's more to that. It's probably not even in the 650 as usual. And that can increase, especially on industries and certain requirements. So if this is sounding new to you, just know that the majority of clients end up either with a weekly or a daily. There could be a bi-weekly, or they could work themselves up to perhaps a monthly. But you have to understand your client. But there's one thing you may have missed: the lowest payoff and prepaid discount approvals, if they are there and at what times. So a lowest payoff, they give you like 90-day payoff periods, prepay, all these little things where your client may be shopping for the lowest price so they can save money, and they see that they've been giving 90 days and they have to pay maybe an additional 55,000, and another brokerage or broker is then showing them that they're only going to be paying 33,000 for those 90 or so days before that. And so they save 20 something thousand. And I get that's a big jump and a big difference for a business owner. But are they nickel and diming? And there has to be more to this equation. And so the lowest payoff and prepaid discount approvals, if they are there and at what times. I've had plenty of these business owners looking for better prepaid discounts regardless of their overall rates being the best of all. The offers that they were given, like if we gave them the best rate, but we didn't give them the best payoff and prepay. It could be a bit frustrating because you're like, I worked hard for this client and I put energy and time to get to know them, their business, articulating meticulously and cerebrally, breaking things down with them, getting to understand them and what their needs are, and then to then come back and then you find out that they had applied to other places that you didn't know about before. You discuss with them why it's not in their best interest, yet they do. So I've had plenty of these business owners looking for the better prepaid discounts, regardless of their overall rate being the best of all, with other offers looking similar or not. And that meaning they probably received the same amount of funding with but better rates, same terms, just better payoff and prepaid discounts. And it always doesn't come down to that. Some business owners wouldn't, but a lot of them are going to be looking at that. What's upsetting is all the energy and time you put into a client for them to have five or however many other brokers slash organizations via perhaps trigger leads, where it's information bought from the credit bureaus, and then they're calling them, usually how it works, probably emailing them in other forms, syndication, the client submitting to places, etc., getting them offers that come after you. It's another story if they were already somewhere else and they found you, and they could still work with you because they find you more intriguing as a person, as in business. Your offer also has to make sense. It's one thing on the emotional scale, it's another thing on the logical scale. And a lot of these business owners are going to have the tipping point go towards the logical scale, and you have to make sense of that too. But I had some recent situations like this with client offers of low and high six-figure approvals and even less. And I'm not kidding you. I'm even coming off a few of them right now where they were probably given like 200. I'm going to give you an estimate 300,000, some with like 80,000, 50,000. And you can lose these clients because of these little things. And there's nothing you can do about it, but just you have to be prepared. And I'll go into that in a moment. And it's unfortunate because, how have you worked for the person who I understand very well? They came to me first, know me well enough on a personal level and even in business. And regardless of how you present your solution or solutions and you position yourself, you have to be prepared for anything and hope that the provider organization does the rest. And you have to earn it now more than ever. I'm going to pause there, and I do everything very diligently. I've been in this industry very long to know how to communicate pain, problem, questions, roadblocks, challenges, these obstacles, and get them to their results. And breaking down even to the biggest, more major problem that the business owner may have not realized. And you go through all of this, they go through an application, you find out there are other applications they're comparing your offer to. Not everybody, but a majority of them will. And it isn't like being a real estate agent or some of these things where, they go to an agent and it's pretty much that person is with them. They were not going to go out there and look for another company a lot of the times. They stick with one a lot of it and they go through them. And it could change, but it's not like that in the broker space. That's why it's so hard nowadays. And I'm going to talk about who you should be careful of getting your information from and are they a valuable source after this is done. So please stick with me. And again, these people can go and apply somewhere. And then there's some lenders who have like a 30-day or however much time broker commitment or agent commitment where they submitted the client first and they get first position after 30 days. Maybe that's done and then they don't have authority over that person. There's sometimes where that happens, not all cases, but it's just like it's a crazy world. And you have to be prepared for anything, as I said. I hope they do the rest, and you have to earn it now more than ever. Honestly, you got to put the time. You're just putting a link out there. These people are just going to look at you for what you are and just somebody who just put a link in front of them. Or you probably did speak to them, whether it was on a phone call, text message, email, however you had that system set up. And they're going to look at it and go, this person didn't help me enough. Why should I devote myself to them? And they just left me to dry, or they just didn't give me the communication that I wanted. And so it's back and forth. It's madness, and unfortunately, it's the reality you face as an agent, broker, even your team, if you have one, and getting your wheels spun. I've had my team in certain different parts where they've been told one thing, then they're doing something else, and they're nickel and diming people, and they're trying to find the lowest price. And I get that, but it won't always exist. And two, there's better strategic partnership and a roadmap you can have by partnering with the right person that can have your numbers even better longer term as opposed to the alternative. And you're always looking for the shortcut or looking for something temporarily. And you have to be careful. And when it is competed in a good way and it is like uh, what's it called? It does overcome your offer and it makes more sense to the client. Sometimes you have to give it up and go, yeah, that makes more sense. Although we don't want to say that. But a lot of the times who I work with, we have the best. And it just happens where the person isn't happy with something. Maybe they're like, I should have been giving a monthly repayment, or I should have been, and then they go look for something else opposed to what you've already explained to them. And you just kind of have to say it and then move along and not straddle yourself and beat yourself up, because a lot of people in here are pretenders. A lot of them are pretenders, and then there are action takers. Regardless of how well you know the client, where you go, your skill level, marketing slash sales skills, processes, systems, the automation, etc., there's still that level of uncertainty that exists. And it's, again, unfortunate, but it's there. So how do you overcome it? I mean, you can let them know the pros and cons of just applying everywhere and anywhere. That's what I would do too, is you don't even have to bring it up. And you can just tell them, hey, we have a brokerage here where we can get you the best competing offer from the best lender, from the best network, and we won't shop your credit around and hurt it. It's safe and secure, because they will think that. And they're like, why don't I go to a direct lender? And I have my both direct lender and indirect. And in those indirect lender brokerages, I already have a lot of the direct lender partnerships anyways, but it's better like that because there's more flexibility, more of a partnership, and etc. And you have to let them know these things sometimes, and how we're finding them the best competing offer, if it makes sense for them to bring them in this system. So know your lender or lenders. I would say that is a priority. Even if you work in a brokerage, I would be asking who's the lender from time to time. You won't always get an answer. They won't share it with you unless you have a strong enough relationship with the person. And even then, sometimes they won't, because they don't want you going direct, or it's not in your best interest to go direct and do it anyways, because the client's not going to get always the best amount, the rates, terms, prepayment discounts, and all these things that go with going direct. So in the market, a lot of the time it makes sense to go indirect and associate yourself that way. So just understand the lender or the lenders, because each one for each industry could be different. They could offer something different, and you don't want to be caught blindsided, not knowing that if you submitted this, okay, it came down to a prepay on this home builder client, and if I would have known the lender worked that way, or that they did this sort of thing, then I would have been better prepared, and I would have been not caught blindsided by something like this. And it sucks because you put in work and then they go to someone else and you lose the commission. And it's not all about the money. It's a business. I get it. It should be about value, creating that value, that partnership, that roadmap, that relationship with them. But at times, I mean, it's out of your hand. And I've been there, done that, believe me. And you have to have, here it goes, know your lenders and what they look for and what they can give. Send final numbers on what you can do for them now and in the future. Future pace them and show them what the long-term play and strategic partnership and roadmap can be and look like, because you can show them levels. Just imagine what it would be like in 6 months from now. You paid off your first amount in less than 120 days. You're on your second amount of funding, and then you increased your credit at the same time, and now you're brought up to 680. And now we can look at getting you an SBA Express or standard SBA 7A loan up to 10-year working capital, and then we can consolidate what you have currently underneath that, have it a longer term, and then help you so that extends your repayment. And then at the same time, you get this additional amount of help and numbers. So you got to help them and then say, hey, well, in 10 years from now, your business is going to be soaring off the roof, and you won't even need to ever take out a loan because you went in this direction. And now you could take time away from yourself and your business and go on vacation with your family and sit out on the ocean, or sit out on the sand on the beach and look out into the ocean, and the waves are so calm, just like you are outside and internally, and you don't have to worry about things. So just think about those things and where they want to be. You got to learn how to associate these concepts with people, as long as you know them and what their wants are, what their needs are, what their likes and dislikes are. You have to have a unique selling proposition, but make sure you lead in with who you are and why you're different. People will remember you for how you helped them, but also how you made them feel, and give them a unique story about yourself they can remember you by. Of course, your level of communication and the service you're working with matters, but when it is the right fit and it comes to something like prepay or else, you can only do so much at that point. And I ended it with my name there, and then I put this here. Probably have seen this before: how to overcome your clients' competing offers, etc. And so I want to end this video by saying you got to hear me go over what I posted. And, these are not just things that I feel, these are things that are happening. Most importantly, you have to understand that if it happens to you, but you did everything right, you look back and you go, I did every part of the steps that I needed to correctly. I was even in depth and specific here. I gave the client 30 minutes of my time. I gave them an hour's work. I didn't even need to go that mile extent or that mile, and you over exceeded. You gave over an extensive amount of value. You probably showed them video content, blog content, and you're helping them so much. And then it comes down to the lender doing the heavy lifting and what they can give them and allow them to. And now there's a competing offer on the table. And it's so unfortunate because I've lost a lot of commissions. I think you lose more in this industry than what you win. You're going to remember your losses more than your wins. I'll be very honest with you. And that isn't necessarily a negative thing. What it does too is it should light a fire underneath you and go, man, I lost this amount of commissions and sales in total, and this would have been my payout if I had this. And so it does get to me where I light a fire underneath me. It's not no longer a I dwell on it and I sit on it. Sometimes I will, but for a little bit because it was a huge sale and it was a huge amount. And you go, what the heck? Like I had done everything and then the heavy lifting wasn't there and I took the energy and time to. That's why I don't get on phone calls with each client. They expect a phone call from me. But if you haven't seen my systems video where I go, here's my processes, fill out my questionnaire form, my systems. I'm going to go ahead and have you in my email autoresponder. I'll follow up with you. Maybe it's a CRM tool there too. Maybe there's a text message, but I'm going to go ahead and then send you an email response on your best funding option and options, thoroughly broken down. Then I'll follow it up by a text message thereafter, letting you know I've sent you it, where to look for it. You can read it through, get started by clicking that link. Where if there's a link, how do I collect the documents, how I will analyze those documents if and or they're sent to me, and though from there you're already in the application process. And a lot of people want that phone call to give you more explanation. They just want to hear your voice, make sure they're real. But sometimes it just doesn't warrant that. And I'm not saying that because I'm an introvert and I prefer not to be on a call, which I really wouldn't. And there's times for you to be on a phone call. There's times for you not to be, to cut it short because you never know sometimes with these individuals, even if you have a strong relationship with them, even if you got a referral from someone, from the bank, from a bookkeeper, another business owner, you always have to be cautious of how you're giving people your energy and your time. And sometimes people tell you, hey, you have to be on the phones. If you're not calling being on the phone. No, no. There's other ways of doing this. It's just people don't know how to do it that way. They're so set in their ways, or they were so accustomed to doing it that way. And again, just to end this video, I do want to mention this because I said it earlier. Be careful who you listen to. There are people in this industry who are the CEOs of the company, or they're the lead, and you're listening to them and their leadership, and you question if they're even knowledgeable about what it takes to do this in the field. They may have already been in the field, and that's how they work their way up to now being the person who just oversees everything, is not on the field. Think about it like you're in manufacturing or in construction, you're the person in the office or in corporate, and you have everybody else who's in the field out there working in that field position role, or in manufacturing, you're working the machines and the head is just up there in his office overlooking everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the person up there maybe isn't in the field enough to understand day in and day out how to do things, how to efficiently run them, whether you're doing it organically or you're using it with paid advertising or another form. They may be telling you something and you're just hearing them and you're listening to them, and what they're saying sounds good. And it actually is truthful what they're saying. I'm not disregarding that. But to an extent, you have to be careful about who you listen to in the space, because I don't want to say it's easier to be a person in that higher position, quote unquote higher position, but how much do they know by working in the field that these things are happening? And they don't want to discuss a lot of the times the fall. They always want to discuss their wins. They want to discuss about how to bring more people into a company, or they want to always discuss those, but they miss out on the processes, the systems, the automation that drives all of that, and different ways of becoming more creative on bringing in clients. If this happens, then what do I do? How do I get more personalized and customized with this? How do I follow up with third, fourth email? And then what should I be doing in that meantime? And how do, when I bring people in, how do I communicate with them? What do I need to be doing? How does my tools need to be working if I have those tools, my landing pages? So it's much easier for somebody to chirp being up here than the person who's in the field doing the work. Not, I don't want to say quote unquote the grunt work, because that's not what we're, in a way we may be doing that, but I don't want to say grunt work. That's a bad way to put it. It's just be careful who you listen to. It's better sometimes to be the position in that position where you're just like telling people, yeah, just find people you get referrals from, I'm the guy over here running the numbers, and that's fine. I get that. They have their place. I'm not saying that's wrong, but you're like, why am I listening to this person who's not really being as transparent? Or they said one thing this time, and then now they said another thing. Like, which one is it? Like, I've heard CEOs say things on meetings, and I haven't called them out, but one of them was like, as somebody asked a question on how can we market, can we advertise and something like that, and the CEO of the company or somebody said, no, we don't advertise. We're doing things like organically. We're reaching out. We're getting referrals, and went into that whole spiel. And then in another meeting, I hear them go, yeah, we are, advertising. We're running marketing campaigns out there. And I go, what? You didn't say that in the last meeting, or you accidentally said we didn't when you should have said we should have. But you just have to be careful who you listen to. Some people try to tell you to do something more old school, that whether it works or not, it's like it's not your thing, or you can combine that with something else. And there are just people in this industry who are more comfortable, and that's why they're not in the field, because they know all of the problems and challenges. And if they were to be in the field, they wouldn't be doing probably as well as where they are right now. Just the person telling people to do things, or the person just being the one in contact with the lender if you're not yourself directly, or they're the person who's just saying, "Hey, submit the documents, we'll look them over." They're not the person who has to get the client a lot of the time. You're the one that's having to build that relationship, and they trust you more than the people that they're going to be communicating with in that system, if are those people. So be very careful. This isn't to be aggressive or mean about it. It's just people out there just they say one thing. You gotta sometimes just let it go out one ear and out the other, in one ear out the other. And when you get more experience in this industry and you've been getting a lot of clients, deals, offers, even if you haven't gone through, you'll understand what it is I'm talking about. Right now, you're like, oh, they're truthful, and I'm not saying they're not, but to what extent you have to be careful, and do they really know their stuff? Because I've asked people, I've challenged people in meetings in a very good way. Like, I wanted an answer to this. Nobody was being upfront with me. And okay, like, if the deposits look like this, why is it that they were declined? When, at what point do we have to look at more bank statements? And a lot of them don't know how to answer those questions. They fumble, and you can sense it before they've ever said a word. And it's because they're not in the field as much every day, or they probably hear it from someone else, but they don't know a lot of that. And sometimes they go back in the field, or in and out, doing the two, but they're not entirely in that field to know that day in and day out, like myself as an expert who does it every day. And so I'm one that really can't be tricked. I hear through people's BS, even before they've said a word. And I just try to stick to myself. I don't always want to verbalize it or say, because that's not my demeanor, or that's not my character to do that. I wasn't brought up that way. But if I sense something that could be affecting me directly or someone else, then I may stand up and say something. But a lot of the times, just know you can come to me, ask me questions, and I'll be able to help you. So that is everything for now. Look down below in the description. There might be information to help you get started. Refer back to your how to promote document if you have it. And if you don't, I'll go ahead and send it out to you. And if you haven't gone started in your journey as an agent, broker, etc., I'll leave more information on how to down below. Comments, questions, concerns, please leave them there. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future videos I'll be coming out with. And if I didn't say this already, please give it a thumbs up if you got value out of it. Share it with others who you feel will get value out of it, who really need a lesson in this space. And I will be there yourself as well to help them. That's it for now. Talk soon. Bye.